Hello and welcome back, everyone, to the Losers Bracket Finals of the Season 3 Invitational for the Eternal Tournament Series. I am, of course, Beardris, and once again joined by my wonderful co-host, Lights Out Ace. And we are about to jump into a fantastic match between Visarius on Burn Queen versus Love Up on TJP Midrange. But before we get into all the sweet action, we just want to plug aReNGeeternal.com really quick. That is aReNGeeternal.com. Head on down there to check out some of the amazing content that we have posted. We've got fantastic articles written every single weekday by some of the top players in the game, such as Loco Pojo, aReNGee himself, Neon, and Lights Out Ace. We've got some not-so-fantastic articles written by Rick We also I don't write articles because they wouldn't let me near an article. That would be a terrible idea. We got rank tier lists. We got stock lists. You can check those out if you want to see what's happening on the ladder and the meta. You can also find all of our tournament information on there. Important to note, last chance qualifier for the mid-season major is going to be April 8th, so that is next Saturday. And the mid-season major is April 15th and 16th. So come on down and try and qualify if you want for the last chance qualifier. Information is posted on the website. And if not, come check out the midseason major where we're going to see 16 of the top players in the tournament scene duke it out for a $500 prize pool. So it's going to be real sweet, guys. And with all that said, let's get ready to jump into the match. Ace, how you feeling about TJP mid-range versus Burn Queen here?
Well, so normally I'd be a little more in favor of TJP mid-range versus Burn Queen compared to Big Combre versus Burn Queen, just because it gets on the board a little earlier. But Love Up's early unit is False Prince, which matches up very poorly against all of the Torches and Vara's favors coming out of Visarius' deck. So I think that, as strange as it sounds, Love Up has to come out of the gates a little bit more tentatively than usual against this Burn Queen deck. So I'm actually leaning towards Visarius in this match.
Yeah, I have to say I've been a huge fan of the TJP mid-range deck that Love Up has brought up to this point, but False Prince is not nearly as good as it is against Big Combre when it's against Burn Queen, who's packing all sorts of disgusting tricks to take care of it, such as the torches, the flame blasts, there's just so many things you can answer it here with. Vara's favor even is just absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, and Love Up's going to be stuck with those False Princes in his deck for at least 2 games. I haven't really gone over his sideboard to see if he's able to sideboard them out, but these first 2 games, he's going to have to be very careful about those potential blowouts.
Yeah, he certainly will, and we are about to jump into game 1 right here. And Visarius with, a very awkward start for himself, though. No Shadow in the hand, and 5 cards requiring Shadow Influence. Love Up is definitely going to be in the driver's seat here if he can get off to a good start.
Yeah, Love Up has to redraw the initial hand too, but his is a little bit better here. Has a Seraph into a Xenon Obelisk potentially.
Yeah, and that is certainly going to work well for him, assuming Visarius. And yeah, Visarius picks up another Fire Sigil. Ooh, this could be a very quick game 1 for the players here. Love Up may be able to just steal this away from Visarius, who's up to this point not found a Shadow Influence. It's not looking pretty for him. If
Visarius finds 1 Shadow, he'll have multiple cards he can play that same turn.
Yeah, he will indeed. I mean, these quarries will be useful as soon as he finds that Shadow for filtering through. But in the meantime, this is going to be quite a beatdown if this Seraph can start connecting. Let's see. Ooh, and Visarius picks up his Shadow at a key moment in the matchup. He really needed to find this right here. Quarry will give him some opportunities. 4-power Soulfire Drake is pretty nice here.
Yeah, Soulfire Drake can come down next turn whether he draws a power or not. And then Love Up's only answer is going to be a Vanquish. So he's going to be forced to take 5 damage and then give every unit in Visarius' deck either flying or charge.
Yeah, if Love Up can get to this scouting party with an Obelisk in play and still be alive, he could very well swing this game still in his favor, but he's not nearly as favored as he once was now that Visarius actually has his game plan online with the Shadow Influence.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Love Up is holding up the stand together over just playing the Obelisk here. Like, even if he had the option, I don't know that Visarius would be obliterating the Seraph.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure he would be either. Let's see what Visarius wants to go for here. Looks like he's going to opt for the Bandit Queen. I gotta say, I'm more of a fan of the Soulfire Drake here, but you do have to respect the Desert Marshal, so there is something to be said for that there. If you're gonna hold stand together here, though, I definitely feel like you need to drop it right now, unless he really thinks he needs to hold it for the scouting party damage.
Yeah, just skipping a turn there and doing nothing. That could definitely cost you against a punishing deck like Burn Queen.
Yeah, it certainly can, and it very well may. Although we do see the stand together is going to be excellent this turn, since it's very likely that we're going to see the Soulfire Drake get dropped, and we're going to see Visarius try and punch in for a ton of damage just with the Soulfire Drake. He could also go for the Quarry into a Rapid Shot, which is his alternative line of play, but it looks like he is favoring just trying to punish his opponent while he can.
Yeah, and he's lucky there's no Desert Marshal. Like Love Up was representing it really hard by skipping his last turn, but doesn't actually have it. So it looks like Visarius is going to take this game now. A health race.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, his opponent is down to 12 already, and he's already holding Obliterate and Rapid Shot to follow up. I mean, he's very, very close to just being able to close this out. Although Love Up could have a very big swing at some point. Vanquish here. Ooh, Desert Marshal is actually great for him here, although he would much prefer to vanquish something else altogether.
Yeah, if he plays Desert Marshal plus Vanquish here, I don't really know how Love Up is gonna win the game. He won't have an answer to any follow-up card.
He does have another Vanquish in hand, so he can still get away with a Vanquish, I feel like, but he's not in the best situation in the world, I have to admit. He would be much better off if he had that Xenon Obelisk in play a few turns ago.
Yeah, and it's kind of risky to attack here because then you're going to take an extra 3 from either the Argentport Instigator or the Bandit Queen.
Yeah. And just passing there, Visarius picks up his second Shadow. That's actually very important. This is going to allow him to just go ahead and go for a pretty clean A space here with the Rapid Shot held up to try and make a trade, and then he'll be able to reestablish with the Cabal Countess at the end of turn.
Yeah, so this Desert Marshal can trade the Soulfire Drake, and Love Up can block and basically trade one of his units for one of Visarius's units. 10 health against an Obliterate and a Cabal count is not really where you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to go to 10 here, which is important to note, and we'll see which of these he elects to save. You assume you would want to kill Seraph, but honestly, I think you need to keep your Instigator alive.
Yeah, it just pushes extra damage, like has an extra point of health. Like, you don't really care about Seraph activations at this point. If your opponent's activating Seraph, you're just obliterating their face.
Yep, we are definitely at that point. I mean, the Cabal Countess plus Obliterate next turn is certainly looking like it's going to be lethal. I mean, Low Up can at least drop the Scouting Party tokens to make some chump blocks, and maybe that will actually be enough to get him back into the game, but it is going to be a difficult position to fight from. Love Up in an awkward position, wants to get in for the 4 damage here, but also has to respect that the Argentport Instigator attacking is a guaranteed 1 point of damage off of the Yeti tokens.
Yeah, Love Up has to attack. You can't sit back against Burn, and you especially can't sit back against Burn when you're at 10.
Yeah, I think you do have to get in here as well, although it is... I feel for him because it's certainly an awkward choice to make. You really don't want to accept that you're going to soak the extra damage. You'd rather hold the Argentport Instigator back, but it's a choice he has to make. I think actually holding Seraph might be correct here, though, in the long run.
Just to play around Obliterate plus Torch, or...
Just to deal with the Argentport Instigator. Like, you're holding it on the other side of the board, and like you're gonna go down to Obliterate Torch anyway with this Cabal Countess coming down. But if you're assuming your opponent has Obliterate Torch, well, then you were dead anyway, right? So
you don't
hold
play
up
what you can't beat.
Exactly. So you're going to hold off some of the damage here for the time being. And I mean, this Cabal Countess is spending he's taking his whole turn to play Cabal Countess. And while he's only going to take 1 damage off this and be able to vanquish it on the way back, then he can drop the Obelisk and get in with the Yetis, possibly. Sandstorm Titan's actually pretty relevant here as well. In fact, he might just grab the Sandstorm Titan down instead.
Yeah, Titan seems better than Obelisk here. Like, just puts down a faster clock when you only have a couple units that can attack.
Yeah, definitely, and it just provides another solid blocker. Like there's no cute tricks here with there's no cute tricks with like a Varus favor into some sort of like burn. So I mean we do see Visarius has the obliterate, but for the time being, it's not going to be doing anything. Visarius draws, or Love Up draws 2 cards rather, and this does give him double Obelisk, which actually could provide him lethal on the following turn if he finds a power and can play both Obelisks into play. I mean, +4/+4 to everything might just be enough to push him over the limit.
Yeah, that'd be 27 damage. So let's look at this here. If Visarius chump blocks the Titan, he'll take 5 + 8. He'll take 14 and still be alive. So yeah, I think that Visarius just has this.
Yeah, wow. No, actually, I think it's... Wait, if he chumps, he's fine? Is that how it works out, or does he take lethal here? Because it's going to be 5/5. No. I think this is actually the other way with double Obelisk in play now. I'm pretty sure this is lethal on the other side.
Oh, yeah, the Seraph gets pumped as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Seraph gets pumped up. Yeah, this is 18. Wow, yeah. So he was able to just squeak this out here. Wow. Love Up with some very clutch decision-making here in the matchup. Ends up saving his turn, well, saving the game 1 anyway, and creating a lethal situation.
Yeah,
what a turnaround there.
Very greedy there. Should have obliterated one of the Yetis. It only does 1 less damage, and your opponent's still just as dead to Flame Blast next turn.
Yeah, and this is another situation where we see Love Up has done this multiple times in this tournament, and I have to say I've been impressed each time he's done it now, where he holds his Obelisk back very purposefully. Is Love Up siding? Somebody stop him, please.
That was only game 1.
yeah, that's only game 1. He doesn't realize it's best of 5. So somebody stop him in the meantime. But yeah, he's done this multiple times. Back to the point. He's held these obelisks back even when we think he should play them sometimes, and he ends up creating these giant damage swings that his opponent is not prepared for because he's not playing around having multiple obelisks hit the face. Yeah, we're having a bit of confusion out of the players here. Somebody will solve this in a second.
Surprise lethal out of nowhere with those obelisks. Yeah. But I just think that from Visarius's point of view, there's no reason not to obliterate one of the 1/1s. Like, it does just as much damage since you have an Archiport Instigator in play. Then you play around the possibility of those obelisks killing you.
Okay, yeah, and we actually see, I think. Yeah, okay, so Love Up, I think, is going in and fixing his deck really quick. I think he needs to plot protects or something like that, and then, yeah, okay, so he fixes list back up to stock, and they'll be getting back into it. But yeah, I mean, I have to say, Love Up's definitely been playing the TJP deck very, very well. Like, I mean, what a swing there! Like that, I thought it might be lethal, but I hadn't quite counted it up yet. If he did in fact just drop double Obelisk there with a power in play, like +4/+4, that extra 12 damage pushing through ended up being the entire difference that game.
Yeah, just a surprise, come out of nowhere victory there for sure.
Yeah. And we see Visarius with a much better starting hand this time around. This is going to be one that's going to be a little tough for Love Up to deal with. Although, yeah, Love Up's put in an interesting position here. Like, he wants to keep this hand, but he is short on power. Like, he's got the Amber Acolyte if he can find 3 power, and that will smooth out the rest of his curve. And he does have good 2-drops that he can play, but I think after weighing it, he decides that it's just not going to be good enough here for him.
He would have 2 draw steps where he had to hit a power. If he did, he would probably win. And if he didn't, he would probably lose.
Yeah, instead, the hand he ends up redrawing into is much, much worse in this matchup. I mean, Desert Marshals are very key a lot of the time, but not when Visarius is packing early 2 and 3 drops that come out as 3/3s. Permafrost is a very good pickup, though. That's going to help out quite a lot in this matchup. He's going to need to lock down the Champion of Chaos with that. That will definitely be showing its face on turn 3.
Yeah, Stone Scar can't interact with curses at all, so Permafrost is just a 1-power hard removal against anything.
Yeah, and we'll see what Love Up wants to do here. I mean, there is a line of play where he ends up dropping this Permafrost early, although I am much more in favor of him just smoothing out his power and finding the 3rd Desert Marshal. In this matchup, you generally want 1 Desert Marshal, maybe 2. 3 is way too many. You do not need that many silence targets in this matchup.
Yeah, Marshall doesn't block particularly well against Champion of Chaos or Impending Doom. It does trade with a Bandit Queen, even the turn it comes down, by silencing off the quick draw at least.
Yeah, it can at least take care of the Bandit Queen, but unfortunately, that's about it for the time being. And definitely given Visarius' hand, like, it's not going to be the best. Although he will be able to permafrost the Champion of Chaos and then take advantage of the Bandit Queen. So, he actually has managed the damage relatively well early anyway. But we'll see if that continues to be the case as we push towards the later game. Impending Doom, still no answer to it for the time being. He can bring it down to the ground, but it's still a 5-5 beater. Love Up needs to find his big units, and Visarius has that Annihilate to take care of most of them.
Yeah, that's always the problem against Stone Scars. Like, yeah, you can contain the early damage a little bit, but if you take like even 5 or 10 damage, you're very likely to just get burned out.
Yeah, we're going to see Visarius get in here. Ooh, actually making a very, very interesting decision here, electing not to drop the Bandit Queen. We're going to see a double block come down here, but this double block is actually not going to favor him. We'll see him lose both units due to the Annihilate.
Looks like he's actually not blocking, respecting that possible Annihilator Torch.
Yeah, I think with the stop on top of the the Argenport Instigator when the Desert Marshal was trying to silence it, I think Love Up read that correctly as the Annihilate or the Torch and decided that he was not in the business of getting 2-for-1 there.
Yeah, so Love Up has a plan now for sure. False Prince and Crystallize for his last couple draws, so he can just Crystallize, hit for a bunch of damage, and then like try and do a 2-turn lethal.
Yeah, he does at least have a plan now, and that is something. We see Soulfire Drake being picked up by Visarius. I mean, I said 3 Desert Marshals was too many, but turns out that they're actually going to be quite useful now. There's a lot of targets that Visarius is pulling up now that are going to need to be silenced. The Soulfire Drake included, as well as the Impending Doom, which I have a feeling we're going to see get silenced right here and blocked down.
You got to be kind of frightened if you're Love Up. Your opponent just played a Quarry and threw a Champion of Chaos into the bin. So whatever card they drew is better than a Champion of Chaos.
Yeah, so in that case, you generally would assume that it's either Soulfire Drake, possibly a Bandit Queen, another Impending Doom, since obviously you have a hard time dealing with Impending Doom. Something big. You definitely have to be thinking big. Soulfire Drake is actually probably the best of those options for him. Like, he would much prefer it be Soulfire Drake than most other threats, since that one is at least decently easy to handle for him. Ooh,
Yeah,
picks
so
up a Vanquish here.
Impending Doom here. We can see this plan enacted. He wants to Crystallize, hit for 11, and then
yeah, well, I think that was his plan, but I think his new game plan is actually just going to be punch in with this False Prince and then vanquish away the Impending Doom and leave the Desert Marshal up in case of emergency. Which we do see, Soulfire Drake hanging out in hand will be the emergency, and even then, the Argenport Instigator can get comfortably double blocked by the Marshals now, assuming that you're reading that as Annihilate and not as a Torch or a Rapid Shot, both of which you do have to respect.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to make any double blocks because, yeah, it's very likely that he has more Torches and Rapid Shots than he has Annihilates. Oh, Crystallize also kills Cabal Countess, so I think we're very likely to see this Crystallize coming up.
Yeah, well, we're in a weird situation where Visarius has a lot of options he could take here. He can go for the Bandit Queen, and I think that's what he's leaning towards here, to just give everything quick draw and force a bunch of bad blocks. We do know Desert Marshal will be able to come in and at least silence down one of these to take care of it. Hopefully he's willing to silence the Bandit Queen, since he knows he can Crystallize and clean up the Cabal Countess on the following turn. But actually, it looks like he's going for the Cabal Countess right away.
I like silencing Bandit Queen and just chumping the Countess, go down to 10.
Yeah, that's the play I'm in favor of as well. Like, you can throw the 2-1 in front of the Cabal Countess certainly here. It doesn't have Overwhelm, and I mean, if you're reading this as Annihilate as opposed to pretty much anything else, then you throw in your one unit that's weak to Annihilate now while you have the opportunity to.
Oh yeah, definitely chumping the Countess with the Acolyte would be best.
We'll see though. Looks like he actually elects to throw a Desert Marshal in, and you need to get that Acolyte under there. But Love Up not reading it that way, so he's just gonna block as he will. He's going to go down to
either way. It's not 2-turn lethal. Like he can Love Up can crystallize an attack for 9 here, and 9 times 2 is still in the 18.
Yeah, that is fair. And Scouting Party picked up for him. That's not what he's looking for right now. I guess he can create 2-turn lethal, though. I mean, we'll probably see Annihilate come down because it's going to be important here to make sure that he doesn't eat all this damage. But maybe Visarius is a little greedy and decides that he's not too concerned about it. If he takes 9, he goes down to 10.
Love Up has no follow-up. So you're just going to go to 10 here. Then you're going to Soulfire Drake, Love Up down to 5. And then you just save the Annihilate in case of a Sandstorm Titan, which is the only card that beats that besides Vanquish, I suppose.
Yeah, Xenon Obelisk would be his one almost out here. I mean, it looks like an out on paper, but with the Annihilate in hand, that's not actually going to be an out. So he needs a Desert Marshal right now. That's what actually is his out. Seek Power, not going to do it, though. So, yeah, but, Love Up, unfortunately, going to go down in game 2 here. So we will move into our sideboards with the players tied at 1 apiece.
Yeah, really close. Knocking Visarius down to just 3 health there.
Yeah, it was very close. I mean, Love Up certainly is going to lose this matchup, but it was very close. I mean, he really did get his opponent almost all the way down there. Like, he tried to navigate the match as best as possible, which is very difficult from his perspective with, never finding a sizable body the entirety of the game.
Yeah, Love Up has done a very good job this whole tournament of navigating the board and adjusting his role as dictated by his hand in the board, like knowing when to attack, knowing when to hang back, knowing when to play Xenon Obelisks.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got some experience with this matchup. Like, I have to feel like he's at least practiced a little bit against these decks. Like either that or he is just playing, very well, like very experienced. He certainly is navigating the field well. And I mean, it's definitely paid off for him. He's made it top 3. Let's see if he can continue that run as we move into the sideboards for the players. Let's check out what they got going on here and what we expect them to be bringing in. And as we are looking...
Yeah, so it looks like Love Up is just sideboarding here. Visarius already had his plan pre-queued up.
Yeah, and let's take a look at what that plan most likely consisted of. I'm sure the other Soulfire Drake is coming in. You can probably reasonably actually bring in, a pair of Ruins for the Obelisks if you need to take care of them. Maybe another Annihilate. Cabal Countess is pretty decent in the matchup as well. But for the most part, you still want to be the aggressive deck, so you're not going to side in too much. Let's also check out Love Up. I mean, you see him kind of going over his sideboard right now. He's definitely bringing in, is at least going back to copies of Permafrost. Yeah, Protect and Permafrost are 2 of the cards that really stand out to me. I would definitely be bringing in both copies of each here. Possibly also the Scorpion Wasps. They're actually pretty decent in this matchup. When it comes to dealing with some of the threats. They obviously don't handle powered up Cabal Countess very well, and Champion of Chaos can often run through them. But outside of those 2, I mean, they handle Impending Dooms, Soulfire Drakes, Argenport Instigators. There's a lot that crashes into the Scorpion Wasp and just rolls over dead. So would like to see those come in. Very likely the other Vanquish should be coming in as well.
Yeah, just a lot of solid answers. It'll be interesting to see how Love Up balances the amount of answers versus the amount of threats he has, because he does still want all of his fatties.
Yeah, I mean, he has to have the fatties here to be able to block this out, but it's gonna be tough. I mean, I think Love Up's hand is pretty decent out of the start, but so is Visarius's. I mean, this is what he's looking to do. Drawing power, maybe not what he wants there since he already has the Varus favor in hand, but I mean, he's already got plenty of gas here. It's not exactly like he's hurting
5 on turn 5. You're generally okay with that as the Burn Queen player.
Yeah, fortunately, this Temple Scribe would be able to block anyway. I mean, I guess this slows down the Argenport Instigator from coming out this turn, since it's likely we'll see Var's favor come down in favor of it. Pun intended, of course.
I actually like playing Instigator and just passing the turn, because that way you still have the Var's favor in case your opponent plays a False Prince next turn.
Yeah, sure.
And
that definitely has a consideration. Although I'm pretty sure the torch will hit the False Prince regardless. See what Love Up wants to do here. He's probably just going to hold off on this Permafrost, but this is actually the game where it's correct to go ahead and just drop the Permafrost in. He is reading that, so he is going to go ahead and drop it in. So, good for him for sure. Let's see. We're going to see
right away. If you don't kill the Burn Queen deck units, you're just going to get hit by them repeatedly while they remove all your stuff.
Oh, and this is just so disgusting. I mean, look at how much burn is currently in the hand. 14 points of damage Visarius can conjure up out of just the 4 cards in his hand. I mean, that is certainly some sort of a clock. Like, we're going to see Sandstorm Titan come down here, and it's either just going to get blown out by a Rapid Shot or double torches are going to take care of it.
Yeah, very likely to be the Rapid Shot. That also lets Visarius play this Champion of Chaos he just drew.
Yeah, and Love Up is... he's actually going to no blocks that, which is very smart. Like, obviously, if your opponent's attacking with their 2-1 in, they're probably holding something. He definitely saw the pause there and multiple times, so he registers that, recognizes it, and decides that he doesn't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, and forcing your opponent to use the Rapid Shot defensively is much, much better than using it offensively, because then you get a 2-for-1.
Yeah, and with Cerso coming down, actually, he has the faster clock here, I think. 14 damage in hand plus 5 on board is 19 versus the 2 turns that Visarius can take him down in. And I guess it depends on how he blocks here, because Love Up could very easily get blown out by double Rapid Shot if that's what Visarius wanted to do. But instead, it looks like Visarius is just going to accept that the double torches are not going to go to the face this game, and that they need to be taken care of on Cerso. And now you have to feel like you have to block with the Sandstorm Titan on some level, but you still have to know you can't.
Yeah, I like the double torches on Cerso, because both of these units for Visarius get a lot better if he draws another power, so he doesn't want them to get turned into pigs. But then from Love Up side, if he doesn't block here, next turn he can block one of them with a Desert Marshal and force the Rapid Shot to kill a unit that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this will be a great Desert Marshal here. He'll be able to silence the Champion of Chaos, although there's some argument that if Visarius draws a power here, he actually shouldn't silence the Champion of Chaos since he'll put it in Vanquish range.
Yeah, either one of these would get into Vanquish range with the power draw, so Love Up actually probably wanted Visarius to power up one of these units.
Yeah, he really did, actually. I feel like he wanted the Champion of Chaos to go up. Ooh, and he's finally making a block here. I don't like this at all. Like, you have to read the Rapid Shots. Like, you've definitely seen the pauses. And, yeah, we're going to see Visarius get a chance to Rapid Shot down the Sandstorm Titan. This is going to make the game very difficult for Love Up now going forward.
Yeah, interesting. He also didn't play the Desert Marshal to silence something and probably silence the Champion of Chaos and block the Pyro Knight. I would have liked to see that play.
Yeah, I would have as well. I think you have to take care of the Pyro Knight at some point. We'll probably see Obelisk come down here. Yeah, no surprises there. So we'll likely see the Desert Marshal come down this turn, although this might just be... it's lethal with no blocks. If there's no blocks here, this is going to be lethal, but I'm assuming Love Up now is going to have to respect the second Rapid Shot, and yeah, he does. He goes ahead and gets the Argenport Instigator down, or silences the Argenport Instigator with the Desert Marshal. Rapid Shot still floating around. Rapid Shot is going to take care of this Desert Marshal, however.
It's really funny to see these 3-3 for 3 Champion of Chaos just like smashing for victory here. Like, Love Up just not drawing. Well, Love Up drawing plenty of stuff that can stop them, but Visarius drawing so many support spells.
Yeah, I mean, Visarius just had like an absolutely nuts hand out of the gate. Like, the Var's favor was important as well as... Ooh, interesting. He just decides to crash. I don't actually think it matters here. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, Love Up doesn't find anything. He just goes ahead and concedes here. So Love Up going down in the series 1-2. Visarius up 2 games as we approach game 4 of the...
Yeah, Love Up's back against the wall here. He's got to win 2 in a row against this Burn Queen deck of Visarius.
Yeah, and he's re-examining his deck. I mean, this is a decently hard matchup for him, truthfully. Like, with the combat tricks like Rapid Shot and all those torches, like, it can be very difficult for him to navigate through all the threats. And, like, the Sandstorm Titan eventually had to die there, and it ended up being sacrificed. It's pretty unfortunate, but we'll see if he can claw back. Basically, what it comes down to is, the Burn Queen deck is just so fast. Like, it's so fast if it gets off to its start, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and so Love Up has a couple false princes, but no primal, so I think that's gonna have to be a redraw. And then Visarius is deciding on a torch into impending doom hand, and he also throws it back.
Yeah, ooh, and Visarius has a very,
Slower
very slow
openers here.
start here, and Love Up actually has a really fast start. I mean, Visarius has the burn to do it. Like, if he can get to the late game, he can certainly burn him out. But in the meantime, if Love Up can, Love Up will have the ability, and he even picks up another power, so he doesn't even need to worry about it. So he will likely just drop this Awakened Student here and become the beatdown deck very quickly. Night Chancellor Seraph likely to come down next turn as well. Cabal Countess is important in this matchup here, though, with the Desert Marshal hanging in Love Up's hand and a couple turns off from that. Love Up definitely has the ability to get aggressive here and really set the pace of this matchup.
Yeah, Visarius is going to have to dig for answers here with this quarry instead of for threats, though he now gets to just pick between two of them.
Yeah, and I mean he's got all the burn in his hand. Like he's got, if he gets up to 5 power, he's got 18. He's got 18 and just obliterates, and then 23 off of the 5 damage flame blast. So it's very likely he'll be able to close the game out at that point. But that's the trick, is like, is he going to get to that point?
Yeah, Love Up has to put on some pressure so that Visarius can't just go obliterate face, obliterate face, obliterate face, flame blast face. And I think that he definitely has the tools available. Like this Awakened Student into the Sandstorm Titan is definitely going to force Visarius to use some burn on units.
Yeah, and I think Love Up made a smart decision last turn, taking the turn off not to play Seraph and instead try and get the Sandstorm Titan down. That way he can have an attacker and a blocker as we get into the later part of this game. Like, that was definitely a conscious decision on his part to make sure that Sandstorm Titan came down this turn. Although now he's considering playing Seraph, because I guess he's worried about the Annihilate possibly on the Titan. But I definitely think if you were going to take the Seraph play, then this is a misplay. You should have just played Seraph last turn. Now you're short 3 damage that you would have otherwise had. So you see Cabal Countess come down.
Darius opts to not trade this Cabal Countess for the Awakened Student, and instead wants to like play her and start attacking. But I guess it makes sense when you consider just how much burn he has. If he can trade damage, that's in his favor because he can just go over the top at the end of these damage trades.
Yeah, he should be able to go over the top as we get to the later stages of this game. We're going to see this Obliterate come in, do 2 damage, 6 damage total, pushing him down to 19. So there's definitely enough burn still in hand to go next 3 turns, burn you out. Love Up, meanwhile, he's going to be in a bit of a tricky situation. Like, he needs to get in with this Awakened Student here, and then he needs to recognize that he needs to play Seraph and hold the Desert Marshal. If he drops the Titan here, he's off curve. And yeah, he realizes that. So this is solid play out of him. This Titan, or this Seraph, is very likely to eat and obliterate, unless he wants to go in the air with the Soulfire Drake, which will be a mistake for him, but obviously he doesn't quite know that yet.
Yeah, this is actually pretty interesting. I think you just attack with the 4-1 without activating her ability and then obliterate face.
That's definitely a consideration. I feel like you honestly just obliterate Seraph again. But, ooh, this is... Okay. Yeah, he's definitely attacking. So I think he's going down your line where he just wants to obliterate face.
Love Up just takes it.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that there, though he does have the Desert Marshal for next turn still. Like, it's not completely the end of the world. And, it looks like, yeah, he's going to point the Obliterate at the Awakened Student to go ahead and slow the clock back down.
Okay, I guess I can see what's going on here then. Visarius decides he has so much burn that he can afford to just kind of eliminate all of Love Up's threats.
Yeah, I mean, it's working pretty well up to this point. I mean, Visarius can honestly just use the Obliterate next turn on the Sandstorm Titan. Although, if he does spend his whole turn doing that, the Desert Marshal can come down finally and take care of the Cabal Countess.
Yeah, but Desert Marshal on Countess means that these Soulfire Drakes are going to run free, hit for 5 and then 10.
Yeah, I mean, it will create a 2-turn clock for him on the way back. So it's actually, weirdly enough, I think the correct play in that case was not to block the Cabal Countess and then swing for 5, because you create lethal for yourself on the other side. It will depend right here on what Love Up rips off the Seraph on the next turn, because it very much looks like Seraph is coming down next turn.
Yeah, Love Up didn't play a power last turn, or he could have used Seraph this turn, I think.
No, he just didn't have the opportunity to, is what it was. So he needs to recognize here that he actually needs to crank something out of Seraph, and I think he's going to, but maybe he's going to drop Surso. It's hard to say. I mean, you're gambling here anyway, but it's your only out. So
Roland's Honor Guard, a Flyer, Emerald Acolyte.
nope, that doesn't
None of
find
the
one.
above.
Unfortunately, Visarius is just going to be able to close this game out. So our losers bracket winner of the loser bracket finals is going to be Visarius, 3-1 with Burn Queen over Love Up's TJP mid-range deck. So TJP finally falling by the wayside.
Yeah, so Love Up gonna get third place here, which is not bad at all. And Visarius will advance to the grand finals for a rematch against Angry Chicken, who had 3-1'd him just one match ago.
Yeah, Love Up going to pick up a little bit of cash for himself. Also, I believe with the 7 series points he just picked up, has now locked himself in for the midseason major. So big congratulations to him. Unfortunate he couldn't go down and take down the whole tournament, but he still had a great showing and really showcased his TJP deck and how well he was able to build it. So big props to him. Big props to Visarius for taking it down in the losers bracket and getting himself a chance at the rematch for the title. So we are going to have Visarius on Burn Queen versus Angry Chicken, our rematch of the winners bracket finals in 2 sets, possible 2 sets. Angry Chicken.
I just want to say, everyone, quick before we go on break here, that if you're enjoying the show and you want to support us, click that Twitch follow button. And then if you wanted to do even more to help us out, we have a Patreon for that. We recently reached a $200 goal. So look for regular Sunday tournaments every single month following the upcoming mid-season major in April. So, and you can check out all that stuff at www.patreon.com/aReNGee Eternal.
Yeah, so check that out if you guys want to support us. We really do appreciate it since we provide you guys all of this content for as freely as we can. So we do appreciate it. And we are going to go to a very short break. So do not go anywhere, folks, and we will be right back with your grand final matchup.